Welcome to Tech for Creators. Today we're going to go through OpenAI's Dev Day. We're going to go through a lot of video production workflows, both video outputs and sort of creative ideas, and also what are some of the new cool tools such as Weavy, where you can string different outputs or string different things together and see what happens.
And we're going to find out how you can use Gemini, not many people know this, as your own creative director. Okay, so what do you think is the most important out of all this?
I think most important is just what the developments are and how you'll use them. I think with AI, it's always, okay, because stuff is always releasing, right? So you should be testing it, and then you should be thinking, how can I use this?
Okay.
That's a constant work in progress, but at least you're thinking about it. So I'll start by going through just the Open Dev Day with OpenAI. So they just announced a lot of different things. It's in San Francisco. This idea that Figma, okay, so this new thing now where in ChatGPT, you can actually use apps inside of ChatGPT. One of those is Figma. So you could actually start to prototype inside Figma, inside of ChatGPT.
Hold on, that's a bit inception for me. How does that work?
Basically, you're in the app, you're in ChatGPT, and you ping another app. So you ping Figma and be like, hey, Figma, help me with this. It's almost like you'd be pinging a person over email or a chat, right? You'd go at Figma.
Oh, okay. So instead of me getting some snappy copy for my Canva thing using ChatGPT, and then I cut and paste it and then put it into my Canva thing, I can just port it over to Canva and say, hey, ChatGPT, I've got this page open in Canva. Can you help me populate the poster I'm making?
Yeah, just literally at Canva inside the chat.
Right.
And it'll open up not just sort of, there used to be kind of this thing where I think it was a custom GPT where you could kind of do that, but now it's just literally, it's people who've partnered with OpenAI to do this at the moment. So right now, one of those is Figma, Zillow, for example. So you could be looking at property research.
Okay. Figma is it's
like people
your wireframes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
You got Zillow. This is an example of Canva down here, where you're literally building a deck.
So Canva is in there.
Yeah, it is in there. It's one of their partners.
And Zillow's a real estate.
Yeah. So you've got like Booking.com, Canva, Coursera, Expedia, Figma, Spotify, and Zillow. I'm not sure how many more, but that's who they have right now.
Okay.
So it's literally like you don't need to leave the app,
So the Booking.com one's going to go nuts as everyone does their itineraries on ChatGPT these days.
And the cool thing with this type of scenario is maybe it's probably more desktop view, but you can have that sort of processing, right? So you have the app open, but then you can actually talk to ChatGPT about it. So for example, in Coursera, maybe you launched Coursera inside of ChatGPT. Well, then you could be like, hey, could you expand on that point a little bit more for me? So it's you don't have to leave the ecosystem, right? But you can still explore it further inside of it. So another big thing that we saw release was OpenAI is doing agent kits. So previously you've got like N8 and Make.com. Even later I'll show you 11 Labs has got their own agent thing. So a lot of this is control, right? It's what can I do with AI, but what can I do with automations as well?
Yeah.
So basically the agent it's an agent builder. It's a chat kit, basically just meaning you can chat with it, and then it will also evaluate it. Is it doing what you want it to do? Is it working?
Right, I see.
So now what this is really kind of boiling down to, of course, is agent plus connectors. So then what happens is she comes on stage, and so these are the connectors, right? So you've got MCP, you can connect different things. It's been they've all been doing this for quite a long time now.
Yeah.
So now you can basically string it along and you can make choices. And she basically said, hey, live demo, I'm going to make you an agent in 8 minutes.
Okay.
For, I think it was booking some travel stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So OpenAI has got a whole documentation, like a little training course now that you can do building agents. And of course, their foundation is sort of the coding agent behind all this, which they call Codex. But you have access to this. You can open up ChatGPT. I think basically just a few days ago, the newest agent is now generally available to everyone. I used it the other day, and I jumped between that and Gemini to actually create a film app.
I actually use it for creating app scripts quite regularly now. So,
Okay.
So my my spreadsheets are next level.
Nice. So yeah, what the whole point of Codex is that the newest one with ChatGPT 5 is it has reasoning that can go, lower reasoning, higher reasoning, and just in between. Doesn't get itself stuck. One of the things you'll see now is that there's Slack integration with ChatGPT and coding. GPT-5 Pro, I mean, think of this as like Google DeepThink, but now you can access it in the API. So meaning like if you have a certain subscription, not Crea.ai, because that's like video and image, but you could essentially, you don't have to pay for it.
This is the one we access, isn't it?
We don't have Pro.
All right. That's
that's the one you have to pay $200 a month for if you want to access it via your phone, like a subscription. Otherwise, you have to pay for every single time you use it through the API.
Right.
So you'd have to find a tool that will allow you to do that. So now we jump into the Sora workflow, and this is starting to get into the portion I'm talking about in terms of workflows, right? So it's saying, hey, Mattel partnered with Sora to try and basically someone prototyped this out, saying, hey, what if we had this cool little volcano? And it talked about like kind of what it would be in that volcano so that you can see what actually happens, right? And then they stuck that into Sora, and that's not real. That's just an AI version. And then they actually played the video where the car flies around the track and all this stuff. So this idea that you can actually prototype, toys or ideas and actually see what it would look like and act like in the real world to be like, hey, is this something we could, sell? So one of the next things that is kind of interesting, I'll just play this video because it basically talks about why do you build agent workflows or automation workflows? And you'll see that it's about control. 11 Labs, of course, is mostly about voice.
11 Labs just took a major step towards agentic control. And it all starts here. Our new visual editor for designing complex agent conversation flows. This brand new functionality lets you orchestrate every scenario, blending artificial intelligence, complex logic, and deterministic action. Whether it's triggering real-world events, verifying and authorizing callers, or transferring to a human operator, you decide the user flow for every scenario. And each sub-agent can draw from its own tools, knowledge base, or language model, optimizing for cost, latency, and accuracy at every stage. Control, precision, and escalation, all done at scale with agent testing integration, allowing you to depend on 11 Labs agents with confidence.
So I actually watched this video. They have like a little demo of how to do it, like a 16-minute little demo. So he starts to talk about like, okay, so for example, Simon, I was thinking like click to view. You set this up, right? What kind of languages would we use? What kind of voice? We'll get an Aussie voice in there, English, maybe Chinese, whatever. But you can actually choose the different languages. You can do auto detect. You can see that here. You've got basically these kind of setups. And then you can actually basically put in this big prompt, like, what do you want the voice agent to be like? How do you want it? What are the guardrails? What do you want it to reference? And then, you put in like different documents and that type of stuff, right? So basically build something for the company or just in general.
What's the use case for this? Sorry.
Yeah, so the use case for this is that you could basically, someone calls in for click to view and you don't have to answer the phone. This agent answers the phone for you.
Oh, that's good. I already don't answer the phone.
Yeah.
Too many scammers.
This one was kind of interesting. Again, kind of talking about workflow tools for video. Don't really have time to go through the whole thing, but I'll just share with you really quick what happens is that this guy, Curious Refuge, he has kind of an AI ad that he already built. And I don't think it's paid necessarily, but he then puts it into Gemini, the whole thing, to get feedback. And Gemini can now analyze the video, not just what's being said. It can look at the visuals, it can look at the music, it can look at just basically the whole thing.
All right. Wow.
And so he's saying that like, you might not use all of this, and maybe it's not as great as like a creative director, but he's saying that a few items from this usually make it into the final output. So I'll just show you some of that snippets of this to kind of.
In this video, I want to talk about a really impressive AI feature that's been around for a few months, but literally nobody talks about it. And it's incredible because I think if you utilized this feature in your day-to-day workflow, you could dramatically enhance the quality of your projects, all the way from films and commercials to graphic design and even web development. What am I talking about? Well, specifically, AI can be a creative director for your project.
So this is his commercial here.
Of presence, of intention,
Kind of like a
of
perfume
quiet strength,
type.
drawn from earth.
And then he puts it into 11 labs, the feedback into 11 labs, and you can hear it talking now for the feedback. Let's see if it gets there.
Fast, but we don't feel that world. The
is the
serenity
feedback
has no
from Gemini.
counterpoint. Let's hint at the fast world she's escaping. This can be subtle. At the very beginning, over the first wide shot, let's add a sound design element, a faint, distorted echo of a city, a distant siren, a phone notification, a chaotic hum that quickly fades as the natural ambience takes over.
So it just does this cool, pretty thing of like, basically majority of it's kind of like, you need to connect the dots, right?
Yeah.
And give a more meaning to this scene. And it was quite interesting. And this immediately for me, this is a lot like my writer's room. And I actually have found them to be quite useful. And it also gets me thinking about it in different ways. And it is often quite helpful, actually. I think this one's a bit more of a take it with a grain of salt. I don't think VO3 is actually this bad, but just kind of a fun one to look at, like Sora 2 versus VO3. I wanted to actually run these prompts myself to see.
Ready when you are.
So this is
3, 2,
Sora.
1, go. Whoa. Dude,
Yeah.
you all right?
Like the boys.
And this is supposedly VO3 as a comparison. See his legs morph. But I think honestly, this is very cherry picked. I actually ran a VO3 prompt on the call with everyone the other day, and it got a bit weird. so my feeling is this is very cherry picked. But would these physics actually be that much better? I mean, yeah, I need to compare and do some testing myself. But it is kind of fun. This one's pretty cool. So this is based on what is it? Nano Banana, but it's Flash image or Flash 2.5, right?
Okay. Yeah.
From Gemini. The cool thing with this is that you can just basically use a canvas. And Nano Banana is really good at, not maybe necessarily an overall style frame, but modifying parts and pieces, right? So that's what you see in this video, right? Basically, they just iterate, right? They make a pair of pants, jeans that they want, and then they put it on a person at the end. Okay, that's the gist of it. But the cool thing is, right, is that originally it's just this top picture of the guy, and then they've modified these jeans the way they want, and then they have this really nice realistic output. And it's on this sort of mood board, open canvas type approach.
Yeah.
Basically, the next flow, this is Jeff Sue, I think. He does quite a good job teaching, breaking things down in a simple way. And he starts off by saying, okay, well, how do you get this consistent character? And he uses Whisk to make this consistent character. So he builds up the prompts. And then, he has actually like a Google Gem, which is like a custom GPT. So this is something we can build. He actually gave this out for free. I haven't tried it myself, but you can actually create this gem that'll make this more precise output. And then he has certain knowledge bases in there, right, to frame it. And then to get the accurate voice. So VO3 is powerful, right? The AI videos are powerful. They still have a consistency problem. They still have a voice problem, right? Even if they just sound effects. So he's showing you how you can work around that. And then of course he makes that consistent character with Whisk for basically using images to make the videos, and combines that with a well created prompt for VO3, and then swaps out the audio in something like Premiere Pro at the end.
Oh.
Right? So, and then he said you can even do this where you have two characters in Whisk to keep the consistency.
Right. Yeah.
But then you still need to output that. So the flow is basically Whisk, Gemini, into Flow, 11 labs, and then into like a Premiere Pro.
Cool.
And it is a pretty simple workflow. This is kind of, again, part of Dev Day. This is the specific code app that was built. It's like a storyboarding feature. Really interesting. I actually want to try to build something like this. I'm sure they took some time. Supposedly they coded it out with, some pros in 24, 48 hours. But basically they got feedback on the storyboard. And then with that type of thing, you could do drawings like this, which then become almost like, cinematically ready. Like it goes from that prototype to this like output, right? And this is the actual web app they built, where it actually, takes like initial ones, puts it into this type of style, and then into a video, and then you can output on Sora.
Okay, so who's this?
So this is a partner they worked with. This is Sora. This is just codecs.
Yeah.
So technically, you could code this yourself.
Yeah. So this is basically putting like a sprint to put together some sort of
like a storyboard app. Yeah, storyboard app, which then then will actually create your shots for you. But it is based on sort of humans in the loop, kind of creating the story in the storyboard.
Got it. Yeah.
But then it refines it in a specific style, and then it outputs, like a real cinematic type video at the end. So for fun, I'm going to try to build something like this. Literally, I'm going to probably feed AI the transcript from the video, and then see what it tries to code.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Another really powerful way to create right now is using something like Animate 2.2. So basically, this is really just what he does. He's sitting on a chair, and that's the output, right? And he actually breaks it down, but he has this character model, but then the rest is sort of basically just
These
prompting.
new AI video tools are completely changing how you make AI films. You can turn yourself into an AI character and create an entire action-packed world using just a few prompts. To demonstrate these incredible new AI features, I made a short film of this courageous space explorer, upscaled to 4K resolution, using the same exact cutting-edge techniques that I'm going to share with you in this tutorial today. First, there's this incredible new motion capture feature, which lets us take a recording of ourselves acting out our scene with motions, gestures, and also dialogue, and transfer that onto an AI.
So, he's using 1.2.2 Animate here.
And he's doing the motion capture.
Yeah, he's using himself as the character reference.
So there's no more of these little tags on you and stuff like that.
Yeah, this isn't as high quality as like what you're going to get in the cinema, right?
Yeah.
But it's pretty damn good and relatively easy, because he's just going to put it into a program. He's going to change the voice with 11 labs, but he just goes through. This is his character there, right?
Which is generated, right?
Yeah. And so he uses OpenArt to do this, where they have image references and the character model. I think this is mostly because probably OpenArt can use 1.2.2, which is actually an open source model. But yeah, he compares it. And then he uses some of the outputs like CReam, which is just like saying VO3 or Nano Banana. These are the image ones, but CDream I think also has the video output. And that's where he animates, and then he probably uses, I think this is CapCut. So you get what I'm saying? This is sort of like the Jeff Su breakdown, where you have these ways you do it, but this is just him just talking about how he gets his performance in there, and then syncing the lips and everything like that. But this one, I think for animation and stuff, is good enough to sort of be production ready.
Well, you could that means that if you wanted to write, direct, and act in your own feature, you could.
Yeah. Just the caveat though that, like I said, I think there's still that if it's just you, your mannerisms, even if you change your voice, even if you change your body, they still come across, unless you're a good actor and you can change all that stuff. This one is interesting in that, so a lot of times you come to these things and they're saying, hey, we're going to prompt this one scene and we're going to see the outputs. Well, this guy was saying, look, we can use this thing called Weavely, where I can output to all these different outputs at one time to see which one is working well. And, kind of like you put the prompt there, you build in certain outputs, or here's the text to video, here's the video to video. So just if I want to get a really fast, I think this would be more like commercial work, where I'm really testing to see which video model is going to give me the absolute best output. And I don't care necessarily about maybe character consistency. It's more conceptual.
Yeah, yeah.
Or if I wanted to really test out what I felt was going to give me the best outputs, by doing a test. So I feel like this is more of a testing thing, because you can have all these different options, but you can connect them into a lot of different ways.
So that this is an app that's using one prompt for multiple
outputs, but you can string it together in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
He was just using the example where I have one prompt and I want to see what it looks like on a bunch of different video outputs.
Fantastic. Well, thanks, Erik. That was really interesting. I think the one I found most interesting was the tool using Gemini essentially as a creative director.
Yeah.
And we often talk about the generative aspects to these tools, but I find that the thinking support that
Right.
AI gives you is actually the real game changer.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the generative stuff is great as well, but being able to, like, as basically a co-pilot, that's the wrong term, because that's what Microsoft things called. But as somebody helping you with your creative, and often coming up with stuff you'd never would have thought of.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that Gemini being able to do that, I don't know, I think literally today or last night, ChatGPT is now allowing you to upload videos.
Right.
And I think like Gemini could do it months ago, but I think mostly months ago it could just mostly do because I remember trying this months ago, and it was just it could just tell me what was being said. It didn't break down what was inside. So I think that these models have actually been getting better under the hood, even though they don't necessarily tell us.
Yeah.
And I think that's it's really interesting.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thanks very much. That was a good one. It was very interesting.
Lot of workflows, right?
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Thanks everyone for watching. Here's our host, Erik Magelssen. Please press like and subscribe and like. We're after subscribers more than likes, just so you know.